So because we are third year students, we are not supposed to study bridge rectifier or full wave uncontrolled rectifier, but we have to start with semi converter, which is a part of our syllabus. So over to semi converter. So for continuity, make a point that semi converter means 2 out of 4 switches in the converter bridge are SCRs, and 2 out of 4 switches in the converter bridge are diodes. Okay. Now we know that a single phase bridge will have 2 vertical arms. So now we come to classification of semi-converters, right? So we say depending upon, so this is the criteria based on which we are going to classify semi-converters. So depending upon whether each of the 2 arms has an SCR, HCB is classified as a symmetric bridge and symmetric bridge. So depending upon whether each of the 2 arms has an SCR, HCB is classified as an asymmetric HCB. What is a symmetric HCB? Each arm should have at least one SCR. Okay, the criterion is each arm must have at least one SCR. And asymmetric means each arm need not have at least one SCR. Okay, so now we will draw all possible symmetric HCB configurations and asymmetric HCB configurations, right? So now we know that our bridge converter will have 3 components. Okay, so we have 3 components. We have source, we have load, and in between the energy flow from source to load, we have our single phase bridge. And This single phase source is nothing but pure AC, and here we can have anything we can have. Okay, any kind of waveform which has a positive or negative VLAVG. And here in the bridge we have two SCRs. First SCR, second SCR, first diode and second. Now we have to arrange these two SCRs and two diodes so they can satisfy the definition of symmetric HCB and asymmetric HCB. This is how it is. Okay, so I will not draw the load and the source. I will assume that they are there to the right and to the left of single phase bridge respectively. We will just draw the middle part. Okay, so we have the first switch S1, second switch S4, we have S3, and we have S2. Okay, the bridge is there, and assume there is a source here. So first what we will do, we will first draw 4 diodes in place of the 4 switches, and then we'll convert them into SCR or diode to fulfill the definitions of symmetric and asymmetric bridge. So symmetric HCB means what? Each arm must have at least one SCR. Okay, so each arm should have one SCR. So what I will do in this arm, so we will also write down arm 1, arm 2 here. Arm 1, arm 2. Okay, so now let me put one SCR in this arm, and I will put another SCR in this arm. So now arm 1 has one SCR at least, and arm 2 also has one SCR. So this is first example of symmetric HCB. Similarly, we will take some more examples. So first, draw diodes in place of all 4 switches. Okay, so again arm 1, arm 2. This is another arrangement. So again in arm 1 SCR, arm 2. The only thing is that now it is down, previously it was up. Few more examples of symmetric HCB. Now you can put SCRs here as well as here. Okay. And fourth possibility is that exact mirror image of the above one. So you can have this and you can have this. You see here in all 4 possibilities, we are having 2 SCRs and 2 diodes. So it's a semi-converter. And we have maintained a definition that every arm should have at least one SCR. Okay. Again, I'll write arm 1 and arm 2 here. Now we go to the possibilities of asymmetric HCB. The definition is each arm need not have one SCR. Simple. It's very, very simple. Simple drawing only. So, classic example, arm 2 is not having even one SCR. So here, if you swap the positions, it becomes another example of asymmetric SCR. Okay, it's like that. So this you can always do by yourself. So understand one thing, that asymmetric SCRs are not there in syllabus because they have their own problems. And out of these 4 configurations, what you have to study is only the first one. So this is what you have to study. Okay. So both SCRs are in upper half and both the others are in the lower half. Okay. So you can say this is the upper half of the bridge, the lower half of the bridge. Okay. We can say upper half of bridge and this is lower half of bridge. So a symmetric semi-converter in which we have SCRs in the upper half and diodes in the lower half is a part of our syllabus. Okay, so I'll just write it down here. To be studied amongst all of the above circuits is first a symmetric half control bridge wherein SCRs are in upper half and diodes are in lower half of the bridge. Okay, and next is study of symmetric half control bridge for R load, RL load and highly inductive load. RL EB load, also known as motor load or highly inductive load. So starting with symmetric half control bridge for R load, it's very simple. So rather than writing symmetric again and again, we know that we have to study symmetric half control bridge, and that too those in which there are two SCRs in upper half and two diodes in lower half. That's what we have to study. So operation of half control bridge with purely resistive load, that is R load. Okay. So we have circuit diagram. Let us draw as neat as possible circuit diagram with all important technical details. Let the upper and lower nodes of the resistive load be denoted as X and Y. Load is resistive. We have our source voltage Vs, which is Vm sin omega t. This is our live, this is our neutral, specifically the two joints. And now the name. So we will represent an SCR with alphabet T, diode with D. Okay, so I'll write it here. SCR denoted by T, and diode denoted by D, right? So because we have two SCRs, we will be having T1 comma T2. Because we have two diodes, it will be D1 comma D2. So the first SCR T1, the second SCR T2, exactly opposite to T1 in the diagonally opposite pair, the diode D1, and exactly opposite to T2 in the second diagonal pair will be D2, right? So in arm 1 we have T1 comma D2, and in arm 2 I have T2 comma D1. Okay, it's very important. Now the only difference between the operation of this circuit and a bridge rectifier is that in place of T1 and T2 you had two diodes, and now we have two SCRs, right? So in that circuit, which was having 4 diodes, there is no control over the conduction of the devices because they are uncontrolled devices. So again, to repeat the difference between a controlled and an uncontrolled device, I'll have to write something. Okay, so the operation has only difference that, as I told you, that in any bridge converter configuration, the diagonally opposite devices by default conduct together, right? So by default, T1 and D2 will not conduct, and by default T2 and D1 will not conduct. Why? Because they are not in the diagonally opposite combination. So by default T1 comma D1 should conduct and T2 comma D2 should conduct, and these pairs will conduct in one of the half cycles. So you know that theoretically, as per our understanding of the operation of a bridge rectifier, T1 comma D1 will conduct in PHC, that is positive half cycle, and T2 comma D2 will conduct in negative half cycle. So there is no need for to explain to a third year student why T1 comma D1 should conduct in PHC and why T2 comma D2 should conduct in NHC. It's very simple that whether it is a SCR or a diode, these are unidirectional devices and they can conduct only when they are forward biased. So by analyzing the way they are connected in the bridge vis-a-vis their connection to the live and neutral terminals of the source Vs, we know that T1 and D1 will be forward biased during the positive half cycle, and in that cycle T2 comma D2 will be reverse biased. That is why T2 comma D2 cannot conduct. Okay. Similarly, T2 comma D2 are connected in such a way that they will be forward biased in the negative half cycle, and in that half cycle T1 comma D1 will be reverse biased, and so they cannot conduct. That means out of 4 devices, any 2 devices, and that too which are in the diagonally opposite pair, will conduct in only one of the 2 half cycles. Right? Now in a bridge rectifier, the T1 and T2 are replaced by diodes. So as soon as the positive half cycle starts, these 2 devices were beginning to conduct, and they used to get commutated at the end of positive half cycle, that is omega t equal to pi. At omega t equal to pi, as soon as negative half cycle started, the second pair of diodes used to start conducting, and they used to get naturally or line commutated at omega t equal to 2 pi, because at omega t equal to 2 pi the positive half cycle starts again. But here there's only one difference, that here there is a dependence of D1 to conduct on T1. Similarly, there is a dependence of D2 to conduct on T2. So whether D1 will start conducting or not will depend whether its partner T1 has started conducting. Similarly, D2 will start conducting depending upon whether its partner T2 has started conducting. And I already told you that there is no point firing an SCR at alpha equal to 0 degrees, because it is anyways happening in a diode. So it is mere foolishness to fire an SCR at alpha equal to 0, because if you want to fire an SCR at alpha equal to 0, better why don't you use a diode, because diode is much cheaper than an SCR. So SCRs must always be fired at alpha greater than 0 till less than equal to 180 degrees. That is, we always say that the range of firing angle alpha is alpha greater than 0 less than equal to pi. Okay, so we know that SCR will never be fired at alpha equal to 0. That means in this circuit the conduction of D1 will depend upon when T1 starts conducting. So we know, we have done simulations in our practical turns, that one SCR, if it is fired, so the SCR which remains forward biased in positive half cycle will be fired at alpha, and the alpha is referenced to omega t equal to 0. That is the natural switching point. Similarly, because T2 is getting forward biased during the negative half cycle, that is the firing angle for T2 will be pi plus alpha. Why? Because pi is the natural switching point for T2. And that is why the firing angle for T2 is referenced at pi. That means if T1 has a natural switching point of omega t equal to 0, the firing angle for T1, that is alpha 1, is always equal to the reference, that is 0 plus alpha. Similarly, the firing angle for SCR T2, that is alpha 2, is always equal to pi plus alpha. That is why now I will write it here that T1 has a firing angle alpha 1 equal to alpha, and for T2 the firing angle is alpha 2 is equal to pi plus alpha. It's very important for you to know. Okay, it's like that. Okay, so in 2 to 3 points I'll write it here. That the 4 devices T1, T2, D1, D2 operate in the same way as the 4 devices in the conventional bridge rectifier. Second point, that means any 2 devices, I'll say which 2 devices? Those which are forward biased. Any 2 devices, those which are forward biased, conduct in each half cycle. So we say that T1, D1 are forward biased in positive half cycle, while T2, D2 are forward biased in negative half cycle. That is why we say that these 2 are reverse biased in NHC and these 2 are reverse biased in PHC. Okay. Now, since T1, D1 and T2, D2 are in series during positive half cycle and negative half cycle respectively, D1, D2 cannot start conducting till T1, T2 respectively start conducting. Next, T1 has the natural switching point of omega t equal to 0 radians. Hence, it is fired at alpha 1 equal to 0 radians plus alpha equal to alpha radians. T2 has natural switching point of omega t equal to pi radians. Hence, it is fired at alpha 2 equal to pi radians plus alpha radians equal to pi plus alpha radians. Okay, so if T1 is fired at alpha equal to pi by 6 radians or 30 degrees, T2 is fired at alpha 2 equal to pi radians plus pi by 6 radians equal to, we can say, 210 degrees. Okay, so you can extend this discussion by taking different values of alpha: 60 degrees, 90 degrees, 120, 150, anything you want. Okay, so it's very simple. The load voltage waveforms will be very simple. So we can say here during positive half cycle, that is omega t greater than or equal to 0 radians less than equal to pi radians, T1 comma D1 will conduct. Okay, let me write it in second line. T1 D1 pair will conduct from omega t equal to alpha radians to omega t equal to pi radians, and the VL waveform comma IL waveforms will be sinusoidal. Similarly, we can write during negative half cycle, that is omega t is greater than pi radians less than equal to 2 pi radians, T2 D2 pair will conduct from omega t equal to pi plus alpha radians to omega t equal to 2 pi radians, and again VL IL waveforms will be purely sinusoidal. Okay, we can directly draw the waveforms now. Source voltage, omega t axis, load voltage, and load current. So 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. Mark alpha here, pi plus alpha, and IL will be a scaled down version of load voltage waveform because current is equal to voltage divided by resistance. So it is IL is VL upon R. It is simple now. Zero to alpha nothing. Again nothing from pi to pi plus alpha. Nothing from 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha. Here same nature, scaled down version. Okay. So nobody conducts here, nobody conducts here, nobody conducts here. From alpha to pi, T1 D1, and from pi plus alpha to 2 pi, T2 D2, and this repeats itself. D1. Okay, and the peaks are, so this peak is Vm, which occurs at pi by 2, negative peak at 3 pi by 2, right? This is Vm, and the current peak is Vm by R. Where is R? It is here. R ohm. Okay. And if we do the mathematical analysis for the average content of the waveform, we get VL is equal to Vm upon pi into 1 plus cos alpha. So we'll derive it in the next class, but we'll not pay so much attention because it is very easy. What is important is to study the operation of semi-converter with RL loads and with highly inductive loads involving Fourier analysis. Yeah.